Boys got some 60s in my bag. Tell me they gotta thank God I'm living comfortably. Checks I don't believe, but she said she done on me. Burst the bridges and I let the fire light the way. Kick my feet up, left the PJ on the PJ. Yo, what up, Chicago Jay-Z? Inside the river and more rights. And I let it all the hoes on fuck, I'm playing the one side. Always yelling niggas SDCs. I go off my man and my instinct. Shooting at the same time.
What's up, guys? I'm Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. And as you guys can see, your boy has singles. We are at the beginning of a new block, as well as the beginning of a whole new macro cycle, starting meet prep from today, officially 12 weeks out from my next meet. Now, you guys probably noticed a couple of things. First of all, your boy's stance is wider, and I'm gonna get into why that is and what my mindset is behind playing with this wider stance going forward, since you guys have not seen me play with a wide stance since literally a year ago, exactly like a year ago, back in October last year for Nationals prep leading up to Nationals. But before we get into that, let's discuss a few things. So, first of all, you guys remember in my last video that I took you through a full week's worth of training, showing you what the block I was in currently was looking like, the block that I was in right before this one. And I told you guys that I had a few goals to hit at the end of that block, and y'all gotta bear with me, man, your boy is a little tired, so I'm gassing a little bit, but I had a few goals I wanted to hit at the end of that block, and man, when I tell you that we killed it, we killed it. So for squats, we came in last Saturday and hit a PR double of 474 pounds, which I was very, very happy with. The first rep moved very, very smoothly. Second rep was a lot slower, which at that type of load is expected, especially for me with my leverage, just the way I squat in general. But the position maintenance was so solid. I'm so happy with that, because the only reason I'm able to keep such good position is because of just all the mechanics I've gotten down with my technique. So I can keep the position tension and just drive through it. Even if it slows down, at no point I feel like I didn't have it. And I was just very, very happy to end squats with that PR. For deadlift, I told you guys that my goal was to try to hit 584, the same that I did at the beginning of the block before last. I mean, at the end, the block before last. But that if not, I was just gonna take what's there. 584 wasn't there. I hit 551 pounds for my last warm-up single, and it felt good. It felt just as good, if not better, as what it did the week before when I pulled it. But in my mind, it's okay, 584 is not there. Let's try to go for 574. And it moved, and I got it. But unfortunately, since I'm still getting used to kind of my new setup, I was really, really patient off the floor, which is great. But I just didn't stay driving with the quads as hard as I should have. So I almost tried to hinge to get the bar through before my legs were at the position to be fully locked out, to lock my legs and hips out at the same time. But regardless, the fact that I was able to still come in and hit my comp best like that, with just that type of patience and position off the floor, and without having to hitch, just being able to finish it smoothly, that's just such a high baseline for me. So I'm obviously very, very happy about that. Now, as far as bench, I was super hyper bench. I told you guys my goal was to match my best double of 352 pounds, and if there was more, to take more. And I hit 358 pounds for a smooth PR double, and it moved even better than when I hit 352 for a double a few blocks back. So once again, excellent place to be for the base coming into this meet. Now, something that I played with on Wednesday of this past week, my last tertiary squat day, was the wider stance. Now, the reason that I did this is because I was looking through some clips from raw nats, just really for hype, because raw nats for me was one of the most fun preps that I did, because it was me, a lot of my friends just going hard, getting really, really hyped. I'll show you guys a couple examples, like the first time I pulled 573 on deadlifts when I was still pulling sumo.
Yeah! Let's go! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Come on! That's it! There we go.
And on that same day was also when I hit 485 pounds at the fastest that I believe I've ever hit that weight.
Yeah! Yes, sir! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
And you guys can tell that for me was fast because of just how hyped I was with how well it moved. And you guys notice I had that wider stance. As I said, going into nationals preps, I played with a wider stance. And the issue with it was when it felt good, like amazing, but it wasn't consistent. My positioning with it didn't feel consistent. My depth with it didn't always feel consistent. You guys may remember from my last, from raw nats, that I got called for depth on my second attempt. Now, mind you, looking at it, it didn't look any different from my first attempt, but it's something where with that wider stance, you just have to really make sure you're nailing depth. So at the end of the day, I don't want to leave it in the hands of the judge, where I want it to be undeniable. So after that, when I started working under Brad post-nationals, we weren't even so much opposed to keeping the wider stance, but because we're trying to work on the other mechanics of my squat, like staying better stacked, keeping my rib cage in alignment, big toe down, driving these forward, we brought my stance back in because it was just easy to learn those things with a closer stance. And the plan was to always widen it back out. We just never did because of how well things were moving. But like I said, I was watching some raw nats clips and just saw how good everything was moving whenever, like, it was feeling good. And then I looked at my 474 double and thought about the fact that, okay, even though I'm clearly much stronger than what I am now, I'm walking around heavier, my legs are clearly stronger, which y'all can see from like the belt squats and leg accessory work that I'm doing. It's the fact that I'm still just at a biomechanical disadvantage due to how I'm built for squat. Out of all three lifts, like if we compare my best lifts in 2018 to now in 2020, my bench went from a 347-pound bench to in 2018 to now in 2020 a 385-pound bench. My deadlift went from 551 pounds in 2018 to 606 pounds for my best pull in 2020. My squat went from 584, the best I hit in 2018, to now 501 is the best I've hit here in 2020. So good progression on all three, but just not the type of progression that I want to see on the squat, especially for where I know my strength is at. And it becomes this thing where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll play with the wider stance again. So that's what I did this past Wednesday, and I have a few clips of that showing up. And you guys can see that it looks very comfortable. It feels really, really good. And I believe the reason why it's feeling better is, one, because my other mechanics are better. I know how to properly get stacked, keep my feet rooted, which is just allowing things to feel better on my adductors, my hips as a whole. Secondly, the fact that it is obviously a slightly shorter range of motion, due to how long the range of motion I have on the squat, even though I'm only 5'7", due to the way that I'm built, it's like I need to take advantage of trying to widen things a little bit. Now, that's not the case for everything, right? You guys know that I tried playing with a wider grip on bench for a few months, and it just never felt as good, because even though it shortened my range of motion, it did shorten it by so much to where it was worth like the tension loss that I felt in my scapula, or like the lack of stability that I felt I had with it compared to the closer grip. But with squats, it actually still feels very, very comfortable and natural with that wider stance. Now I've got these mechanics down. It still feels very stacked for me. And aside from that is the programming difference. Back then for raw nats, I was low bar squatting 3 times a week, which that wide stance obviously wasn't feeling great, putting the hips under that type of pressure that often, as well as the fact that I was pulling sumo twice a week. I pull conventional now, so I don't really have to worry about that. And beyond that is the fact that my squat programming is just a lot smarter, a lot better now. Like you guys know that I do some type of low bar squat twice a week. On my primary day is like usually just my normal competition low bar squat, top single, double, triple, whatever it may be, followed by some volume work. And then my tertiary squat day is just very light percentage-based work, whether it's tempo low bar, pause low bar, or just competition low bar, but light percentage. And then I have the SSB on the secondary day in between, which that's still the setup I've got going forward. When I'm doing my SSB squats, I plan to still keep that stance in the normal position that you guys have been seeing me with. But on my low bar squat days, I'm definitely gonna have it wider because it's just feeling really, really good and helping me to kind of maximize my leverages more. Like we talked to you guys about, like with Joe from Team TSA and Tim Thibodeau, we talked about that a couple videos ago about, hey, how to work around your leverages by, one, just getting bigger, becoming more jacked, and 2, finding the best positions for your leverages. And I really think it's gonna work well for me with the wider squat. Aside from the fact that it shortens the range of motion a little bit, it just gets more musculature involved. And it feels really, really good. I still feel like I'm loaded well into my quads. And the fact is I'm not worried about like, oh, what about like, having more volume on the quads to help them grow? Because one, recent research shows us that there's really not much difference in quad activation between a closer stance squat and a wider squat. And two, you guys know that I'm going hard on my leg accessory work, belt squats, leg press, which I'll still be doing with a closer stance for the sake of volume and hypertrophy. So I'm really feeling how this is going right now. You guys can see how easy things are moving. Like that 440 pounds, I usually jump from like 3 reps, 375 to like 420. So to jump from 3 reps to 440, so that's feeling that good, was awesome. And then to still feel like that wasn't quite the RP6 and go up to 452 was great. And it moved fantastically. And then my back down sets were 396 pounds for a 3x5. Mind you, the end of last block, I hit 402 pounds for my 7x2. So to come in and hit my back down volume with so close to the same weight and for it to feel as easy as it did was fantastic. So I'm really happy with that, and I really do think that's going to be the move. And you know, I'll be taking you guys through what the rest of this workout is like. You know, you guys know we're gonna work up to a singlet on deadlifts, RP6, still no back down volume, then we got some light bench work. And then I'll just be taking you guys through what my days are looking like with this current block. And I'll be more like, you know, I'll be keeping up more, having you guys keep up more with my training through raw video footage since we're now in prep. And I'll have more to show you guys and take you through on top of the usual foreign content. But anyway, that was a lot of talking, but just wanted you guys caught up with how we finished last block, what we're doing today. I'm feeling good. Let's finish the workout strong. Alright guys, so I am back at the crib right now, and the rest of today's workout went really well. I was very happy with how deadlifts felt. I made sure that even though the way I'm getting to the bar is different, like, you know, my initial setup's the same, I exhale hard to draw my ribs down, get my core as tight as possible, I brace into that, push the arms out long. Then the difference in setup is instead of hinging down real nice and slow, I more so like, you know, I go down kind of one arm at a time with a little bit more speed. And after I get the slack out, I just really emphasize wedging into the bar hard, flattening out the lower back as I wedged into it, still letting the upper back stay protracted, and just getting as tight as I can before ramping the tension up fully to push. And it's feeling really good. I think the main difference between how I felt this week compared to how I've been feeling the past couple weeks is that I'm still remembering to be patient off the floor. Even though my setup down to the bar is faster, once I actually wedge and initiate the push, I still need to be very patient. And just make sure I'm pushing as hard as I can with the legs. And that felt really good. And then for bench, you guys saw, just had a little easy 3x4 with like, I think it's like 65% today. My day one of bench is the lightest of my 4 bench days. As you guys know, my heaviest bench day is tomorrow, primary bench day. And today is always just about kind of priming me for tomorrow. And the reason that Brad has me doing touch and go on this day right now is just to kind of like change up the stimulus of what we've been doing. And the main thing I'm focusing on is still keeping really good control and just keeping that chest really high the entire time, not letting it sink at all. So that way I'm getting a little bit something out of the touch and go variation. But yeah, things felt really good. And I'm excited to kind of see where squats go with this wider stance. But that's all I kind of want to talk about for today. I will see you guys tomorrow for my primary bench session. Alright guys, so it is Sunday, it is late Sunday evening, so a little after 10 p.m. Today's been a long day. Basically, Amber and I hosted some friends last night, so I didn't go to bed until about 2, 3 in the morning. Then I had to get up pretty early because I had a clients meet to go today, which he did very well. Went 8 for 9, PRs on all 3 lifts. Added 198 pounds to his total from his best meet last year, so really psyched about that. But just due to how long the day was, ended up going home, getting some work done, taking a quick little power nap, and now we're here, about to get it in. We got a bench single at RP6 and some accessory work. Let's get to it.
At my wrist, she looked at $100. Wrist so icy, wonder why she like me, bitch. I'm drowning.
Alright guys, so top set of 336 pounds moved very, very well, especially with my sweet wife Amber, God bless her soul. Not necessarily giving me the best lift offs, but she's getting better. We working on it. But it still felt very, very locked in. You guys probably noticed that for my last warm-up as well as that top set, I really tried to emphasize like a nice long hold at the top and just a really, really clean competition style pause, because I want to make sure that what I'm hitting in training is going to be able to carry over well into the meet, obviously. And I've never really had an issue with like longer pause commands, at least not for a while. Like, it's one thing if I get an excessively long pause command, but that hasn't happened like in a few meets, so I think I'm going to be good to go. But just try to practice how I play to be safe. Next we've got back down sets, 3 sets of 5 with 15% less. You guys know that the structure on my primary bench day is always pretty similar to the structure on my primary squat day. So yeah, same thing as yesterday, 3 by 5 with 15% less. Let's get it. So back downs on bench felt really, really good. It's been a while since I've had back down sets of 5 based upon a single. And even though last block, the percentage drop wasn't that different, I believe it was 14% drop for my top double. Keep in mind, I had back down doubles last block, 6 sets of 2 compared to 3 sets of 5. So just maintain that position for multiple reps with heavier loads. It's gonna take a little bit of getting used to, but all in all, it felt good. Like, even though on that last set it starts to feel more difficult, when I go back and watch the footage, it looks clean. So we're in a good spot. Let's get into this craftsmanship.
Sipping on a drink, sipping on a drink, sipping on a drink, sipping on a drink. All about the motor. My name on problem, my life is hard, and my problem. Sometimes money can't solve it. Gotta keep your circle tight. Sometimes your niggas the ball. It ain't no real love. Niggas only in love with a dog. They only tell you when you up, Joey so heavy.
It's the weekend and I'm creeping with my niggas. Drunk and disrespectful, calling women bitches. I don't need no one, want you with your friends. Need us in the cut and we get you a nigga. Got my ratings that I only wanna get it in your business.
That's the way I got the moves. I got the moves. I make moves. You got the move. You got to she make that back move. She make it city. I make it city. I make it city.
Alright guys, so it is now Monday. I didn't do too much talking after my accessories yesterday, just because by the time I was done, it was well after midnight. Me and the wife were tired. We just wanted to go home, get some rest, get back on the usual track as far as our sleep schedule. But everything felt really, really good. You guys can see my accessories are not all that different than what they have been on Sundays, other than the fact that we're doing lap pull downs and staple instead of weighted pull-ups on this day, while still doing weighted pull-ups on one of my other upper body days. And then the rest is the usual, some type of press, whether it's dips, chest press, machine, face pulls, arms, rope choice, all that good stuff. And you guys can just see like the set rep ranges are a little bit different now because we're in a new macro cycle. So things are starting a little bit higher volume again. And we're just gonna like periodize that correctly going into the meet. Anyway, today we've got SSB squats. And that's the thing I wanted to explain to you guys. I am not really changing the structure of my movements going into this meet. I'm not gonna suddenly go to like comp squat 3 times a week or do comp squat on my primary and my secondary day and then SSB on my tertiary day. The way I've been going about it has clearly been working with comp squats on my primary day, SSBs on my secondary, and then some light variation of comp squat on my tertiary. So I'm gonna keep running that all the way into the meet. What we are doing is just pushing this day heavier. So last block we were doing top sets of 5. Now instead of going to 4s, we're going right into top sets of 3. So that way we can still be pushing intensity on the top set on this day. And then I've got some volume back down work with a 15% drop based on what I hit for my top triple. So let's see what we get up to.
What do you think?
Alright guys, so SSB squats felt really, really good. Top set of 3 was with 366 pounds, and my back down set of 6 with 310 pounds, and it moves smoothly. As you guys can see, I'm using my usual closer stance on SSBs. I'm not doing the wide stance on the SSB. So that way I'm only doing the wide stance low bar squat twice a week. Keep the hips feeling good, as well as just getting good additional volume in on the quads, so I say long range of motion with the SSB along with the rest of my leg accessories today, which are going to be the usual accessories. So we'll start off with belt squats. Instead of 4 sets of 12, it's gone down to 4 sets of 10, so I'm going to push it a little bit heavier. So gonna get the bands on, load some weight up, and see what's good.
I took a because of my currency. Been doing shopping for my currency. Versace slippers color burgundy. Rappers be talking and they hurting me. I took it so they could come work for me. Keep the drink in case an emergency. Round the city, sipping the tea, bringing the heat, niggas they look for me. Coming up watching the news, I'm feeling like that what I wanted to be. Now I wanna get right anymore, they got us about.
Alright guys, so that is it for the workout, and that's pretty much it for this video. I'm very happy with how the first 3 days of this prep have gone, and I will of course be sure to show you guys what day 4, 5, and 6 of my programming looks like, but that's pretty much it as of right now. I'm very excited. Like, that's all I can say. I'm excited. Like, I'm going in feeling very confident with where my strength is at, and knowing that I have 12 more weeks to build it up just has me really, really happy. But yeah, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and comment down below, let me know what you did. If you're not, leave a comment down below, let me know what can get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.